Rewrite it in richer detail, keeping the tone, emotion, and sequence intact, without adding headings and reusing the same issues you described. I was standing at the bus station with my son perched on my hip, his small fingers curled into my collar as I tried to keep them warm against the evening wind. The air tasted of dust and diesel, people moving in tired waves around us, when a black luxury car rolled up in front of me. It stopped with the kind of smooth confidence only money buys. The window slid down slowly, almost theatrically, and Ariba's face emerged, her features sharp under the dim station lights, her eyes colder than the softness in her voice. "Get in," she said quietly. "I need to tell you something important." There was no room for argument. Not after everything her family had done. Not after the years of rot they'd left in my life. And not with the way she said it. Like the truth was lodged in her throat, tearing its way out. I opened the door, slid into the warm cabin, shut it behind me, and braced myself. I didn't know then that my revenge was seconds from unfolding. I used to think love made you brave. But now I know it only blinds you enough to walk willingly into someone else's storm. When I married him, I believed in the quiet promises in his eyes. He was gentle, steady, the kind of man who placed my hand on his chest as if telling me, "Here.
Stay.
This is yours." His family treated me like decoration, polite enough to display, easy enough to ignore, but he made up for it in the beginning. Then he disappeared. 3 years. No calls. No messages. No explanation. He simply vanished, a ghost wearing my husband's name. His family didn't wait long before dragging me to the door. They shoved my clothes into a torn storage box and told me I brought misfortune into their home. They said he left because of me. They said keeping his child was inconvenient. I held their accusations like shattered glass, carefully, silently. But inside, I was burning. Not once did I let them see how deeply their words cut. Because even back then, something in my gut whispered they're hiding something. It started small. Conversations that died the moment I walked into a room. Ariba avoiding my eyes like they carried answers she didn't want to hear. His mother praying with a volume that felt more like guilt than devotion whenever she mentioned Sin's coming home. Then, while unpacking the box they'd thrown at me, I found an old phone of his, an older model, dead but intact. The SIM card was still inside. I charged it, expecting nothing. But there was one message. One single message. Sent 3 years ago. From a name I didn't recognize.
"He's gone.
Do not contact us again. You got what you wanted." I stared until my vision blurred. Then I let out a short, bitter laugh. They hadn't lost him. They hadn't been abandoned. They had driven him away. And they had made sure he never looked back. I didn't confront them. I didn't scream or beg or demand answers. I did what wounded people do when they're tired of bleeding. I sharpened myself. I collected every insult, every thrown-away paper, every bank slip, every conversation they thought I didn't hear. I traced the number that sent the message, expecting a stranger. Instead, it led me straight to his brother-in-law, Ariba's husband. Interesting didn't even begin to cover it. I gathered everything into a single digital folder.
Neat. Precise.
Devastating. And I waited. Revenge tastes best cold. Mine needed to be glacial. First, I contacted a lawyer, quietly, discreetly, arming him with evidence sharp enough to cut through bone. Second, I traced my husband's employment records, tracking the places he'd moved, the trail of empty spaces he'd left behind. That's how I discovered the truth. They had told him I'd filed a case against him. They forged my signature. They told him I wanted to separate, that I wanted to move on. They told him not to contact me. Third, I reached out to him, not for apologies or explanations, but to give him clarity. Fourth, together we built a case. Not for reunion. Not for a future. For justice.
Fraud. Forgery.
Illegal eviction. Financial manipulation. Every thread they'd tried to wrap around my throat, I rewove into a rope they couldn't escape. And tonight, at the bus station, that rope finally started tightening. Ariba's hands trembled on the steering wheel. She didn't start the car. She barely breathed. "I know he contacted you," she whispered. I didn't say anything. He found out who took his place. The confession dropped between us like a gavel striking wood. Her lips trembled. Her mascara clung to her lashes like guilt refusing to fall. It wasn't supposed to go this far, she stammered. We just wanted him to stay. To take over the business. He wouldn't listen. He wanted you. So they removed me from his life. And removed him from yours. You forged my signature, I said evenly. You destroyed my home. You lied to your own brother. She flinched as if the words themselves slapped her. I leaned in closer. And now you're afraid because he's coming tomorrow. With lawyers. Her breath caught, jagged and desperate. Please, she whispered. Please stop this. Mom will go to jail. My husband, too. Your husband, I cut in softly. Should have considered that before pretending to be me. Her face crumpled, and she buried it in her hands. We'll lose everything, she choked out. I turned my head toward the window, watching the sea of people moving through the station, bags heavy, steps hurried, regrets trailing behind them like shadows. That's the point, I murmured. I opened the door and stepped out. My son clung to my shirt, warm and sleepy. Behind me, Ariba grabbed my wrist. Please tell him you forgive us, she begged, voice breaking. I looked at her hand, then at the woman attached to it, the same woman whose signature pushed me out of my home. I don't forgive betrayal, I said softly. I corrected. Her knees gave out. She slid into the seat, sobbing into the same manicured fingers that signed away my life 3 years ago. As I walked toward the bus, something inside me loosened. Something that had been coiled and knotted for too long finally released. Tomorrow wouldn't be the end. It would be the beginning. He would face them. They would face the law. And I would finally face a life not built on someone else's control. My son tugged on my sleeve. Mama, where are we going? I smiled, steady and certain. Somewhere better, I whispered.